Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Got Harem with Kin Mei and Anko Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Flashback Part 1 End. Sakura was very uncomfortable with her situation. She and Naruto had split off from Shino and Shikamaru since Shino was fighting the puppet user and Shikamaru volunteered to stay back when Naruto picked up on several nin following them, but that wasn't what made her uncomfortable, it was being alone with Naruto. He hadn't said a word to her at all and she was still thinking about the words Kin said. Naruto. Yes, Sakura-san. Naruto replied, not even bothering to look at her. Are you mad at me? Sakura asked, hiding her shock when Naruto added san instead of chan. No, I'm not in fact. Naruto responded. Why do you ask? It's just, you don't act like you used to and I'm not sure how to feel. Sakura said as the two jumped through the trees. Get used to it, Naruto said, making Sakura look at him. I told you before that if you didn't show up, what will happen and you choose. And I have always been like this. I just hid my true feelings behind an idiot mask and acted like someone I wasn't to make friends, but after meeting Kin and Karen, I realized there were people who accepted me. To be honest, I always thought our team was terrible. Naruto said, causing Sakura to flinch. We were uncoordinated. Sasuke was selfish, you couldn't see anything past him, and Kakashi was not only lazy, he trained Sasuke more. He knew my dream was to be Hokage and he didn't bother to help me. He knew you needed more work with your dieting and physical strengths, but he didn't do anything. When I asked for more training, he said I wasn't ready. When I asked to hang out with you three, Sasuke would leave us alone, you would say no and hit me, and Kakashi would just disappear. So I decided not to act like a pushover anymore thanks to Kin-chan and Karen-chan. Also, it made me happier that Anko-chan decided to help me during the 2 months. Naruto, I'm sorry. Sakura said. You have nothing to apologize for, you opened my eyes and showed me how important I was. Naruto said before his eyes widened and he sped forward and threw one of his kunai ahead and disappeared. Naruto. Sakura said and saw a flash of orange in front of him. Few minutes before. Sasuke hated to admit it, but he was having a hard time against Gaara and out of chakra. He used 3 Chidoris and only did minor damage. Not only that, but his curse mark was acting up. Gaara was standing across from him, looking like a hybrid of Shukaku with his left side transformed. What's the matter, Sasuke Uchiha? Is this all the strength you can muster? Naruto Namikaze did way better than this. Sasuke gritted his teeth at the remark. The dweeb is nothing like me. I know, he's much stronger. And now I'm done with the appetizer. Now die, Gaara said, charging the Uchiha. There's got to be something I can do. Sasuke thought, looking around until his eyes landed on Tamari, making him smirk. She'll do, Sasuke thought while building up the last of his chakra. Tamari was terrified, looking at her brother. She wished there was something she could do, but she wasn't stronger than Gaara, but she still believed her little brother was inside there. She was knocked out of her train of thoughts when she found herself in front of her brother. The Uchiha switched places with me. Tamari thought before she panicked as Gaara closed in on her. The Uchiha ran, but you'll do, Gaara said, preparing to kill his sister. Right as he was about to end her, a familiar kunai appeared in front of him and in an orange flash, Naruto appeared and kicked him in the face, away from the Suna Kunoichi. Naruto landed next to Tamari and picked her up bridal style and jumped back a few branches. Are you okay, Mari-chan? Naruto said with a concerned look. Tamari wrapped her arms around Naruto and hugged him. Thank you for saving my life. Naruto. Sakura called, landing next to the blonde. Why did you save her? Her village is attacking ours, you should have let her die. Naruto turned to Sakura with crimson red eyes, scaring the pinkett. Shut it, if you were paying attention. You would have seen Orochi Tem taking off the Cage robe and face. Plus I sensed him there the whole time. He most likely tricked Suna. This war is pointless, and if I save Mari and the other Suna nin, we can re-establish our relationship. And last, I will not let her or anyone die if I can prevent it. Temari was touched by this and also shocked to hear Orochimaru taking her father's place. If he was telling the truth, that means her father was most likely dead. That explains why he's been joyful. He's never like that. Now Sakura-san, get Sasuke out of here. Naruto ordered, making Sakura flinch and jumping to her teammate. Naruto turned to Temari with a softer look on his face. Mari-chan, stay away from those two. I'll stop Gaara and make him see the light. You'll have your brother back, I promise. Naruto said, taking off his haori and handing it to Temari, revealing his thin gray vest and a short-sleeved black shirt underneath. Hold this for me and give it back when I complete my promise. Namikaze. I was waiting for you. Gaara said as he transformed to look more like Shukaku. Now make me feel alive and prove my existence. Kuruma, may I use some of your chakra since I haven't recovered mine yet? Naruto asked his partner. Sure Kit, show them what happens when you piss off a fox. Kuruma said as he filled Naruto with chakra. Naruto's teeth got sharper and red chakra started to surround him. Temari, Sasuke and Sakura felt this and got a little terrified. Naruto turned to Temari and gave her a warm smile. Don't worry, I'm still me. Naruto said to the Suna nin. Yeah, Temari replied with a small smile. Naruto turned to his teammates and nodded. Sakura wanted to yell at the blonde for treating their enemy better than them, but now wasn't the time. Remember when I said we were going to fight like monsters? Naruto asked Gaara, which made him smirk sadistically. Let's begin the monster brawl. Naruto charged Gaara at blinding speed, but Gaara was able to react. He thrust his sand arm forward at the blonde. Naruto created an explosion clone and jumped off its back, making it receive the attack. When Gaara's arm hit the clone, it exploded, blowing off part of Gaara's sand arm, and it was stronger since it was enhanced by the Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto landed on the branch in front of Gaara, cocking his back. Rising storm. Naruto uppercutted Gaara with a swirl of wind around his arm, causing the sand Jinchuriki to fly into the sky in a tornado. Naruto created a clone and the clone threw Naruto at Gaara. Gaara recollected himself and smacked Naruto with his tail, sending him back. Gaara landed across from Naruto, laughing maniacally. Interesting, very interesting. You are indeed worthy, yes. Let's keep going. Sand devastation. Gaara sent out a blast of sand from his mouth at the blonde Jinchuriki. Water style. Water wall. Naruto shot out a wall of water from his mouth, meeting Gaara's attack head-on. I'm not done. Sand shuriken. Gaara produces sand shurikens from his body, hitting the blonde. Naruto was sent back but collected himself. Is that all you have to offer? Not even close. Shadow clone jutsu. Naruto created 100 clones which were enhanced by the Kyuubi's chakra. They all ran towards Gaara and began to pound him endlessly. Is this really Naruto? Sakura said as she and Sasuke watched the fight. He's really doing it. He's beating Gaara and matching him blow for blow. Temari said. How did he get so strong? I couldn't even get close to Gaara, but Naruto is fighting him as an equal. Sasuke thought to himself. Naruto and his clones jumped back from Gaara, each going through hand signs. Water style. Water bullet. Wind style. Wind bullet. Gaara covered himself with his arms and tried to block the onslaught of wind and water jutsu. No, I will not lose. I will not cease to exist. No. Gaara thought as a huge sand arm erupted from his body and a huge puff of smoke appeared, then out of it was Shukaku's true form. Ha ha ha. Now what will you do? I have one option. Naruto said, biting his thumb. Kin, Anko and Neko were heading to the tower while fighting through some sound and sand nins. This is the first time I do not want to see snakes. Anko said, looking at 5 snakes, blocking their way. We still have to get by. Neko said, cutting down another sound nin. I got this. Kin said, biting her thumb. You have a summon. Anko asked, wondering what summon the girl had. Damn it, Karen said, dodging a kunai from a sand nin, while holding a katana. She was standing outside Konoha's hospital, facing 4 sound nin. Why can't you guys just die? Karen said, surrounding her sword with water. Severing stream dance. Karen dashed through the enemy shinobi, cutting their head off. Leave it to Orochi, to rely on numbers instead of strength. Karen thought before she felt vibration coming from underground. She backflips as a 3-headed snake appears where she stood. So annoying. Karen thought as she bit her thumb. Flashback. You want us to do what? Kin asked the Kuruma clone. Naruto made a clone and had Kuruma possessed. I want you to perform the summoning jutsu. Kuruma said, folding his arms. But why? Don't we need to sign a contract to summon something? Naruto asked. Not necessarily. How do you think people obtain summon contracts? They perform the summoning jutsu and are pulled into the creature's realm. By performing the jutsu, you'll attain a summon that is close to you. It'll be a pure relationship. Perform the jutsu and pour as much chakra as you can into it. The 3 did as instructed and performed the technique. Flashback end. Summoning jutsu. In a blast of smoke, fire shot at the 3-headed snake, burning them to death. When the smoke cleared, Karen was standing on something no one thought they'd see again. Kurenai ran out of the hospital as it was cleared to assist Karen. Karen-san, are you? Is that a salamander? Kurenai said, staring at the huge summon. Karen was standing on a crimson salamander that was the size of a boss summon. Karen turned to Kurenai and smiled. Yep, now it's time to take out the trash. Let's go, Tanya. Karen said, eating a chakra pill. Hi, my lady. The reptile replied, shooting out lava at the enemy summon. The snake hissed in pain as they were burnt alive. Karen pulled out a broadsword and started to demolish some Odo nin. Tanya, make sure no Odo or sand nins get in. Karen ordered. Summoning jutsu. Kin yelled as an explosion of smoke surrounded the area. Something flew out the smoke and into the sky with Kin, Anko and Neko. This is so awesome, Anko yelled in excitement. I'll say, I've never seen an owl summon before. Neko commented in awe. They were riding on a pure white owl. Mistress Kin, how may I assist? The owl asked. Kill any snake you see on the way to the tower, Luna. Kin ordered. Yes, mistress. Freezing feather arrows. Luna shot feathers made of ice and froze the snake instantly. Kin pulled out a sword she got from the owl clan. The katana had a body shaped like a feather and a guard shaped like an owl face. Are you ready, Anko ne? Kin said, as she jumped off the owl and started to cut down Odo nins as she made her way to the tower. Summoning jutsu. Naruto placed his hand on the tree and the whole area was covered in a puff of smoke. Ra. A creature sent out a roaring shockwave, revealing an white tiger with black stripes. The tiger looked around and looked up to Naruto. Naruto-sama, why am I here? Look ahead and see for yourself, Kira. The tiger looked ahead and her eyes widened. You summoned me to fight a biju. You really are exciting, Kira said. I know, let's go wild. Naruto said as Kira charged the sand demon. Roaring shockwave. Kira sent out a roaring blast and hit Shukaku's body. You will not win. Gaara yelled and went through some hand signs. Soon he went to sleep and Shukaku's eyes started to glow. Yeah, I'm free. It's time to kill. Not going to happen, I'm going to end this. Kira charged Shukaku and leapt in the air with her claws extended. Just die. Sand devastation. Shukaku inhaled some air before releasing a sand stream towards the tiger. Lightning roar. The tiger shot a lightning stream at the sand attack, both attacks meeting and creating an explosion. The tiger landed in front of the biju and stabbed his claws into its skin. Naruto, jump onto him and wake up the host. One good hit should do it. Naruto jumped on Shukaku's head and charged Gaara. Once he was face to face with his fellow Jinchuriki, he punched Gaara in the face. No, great, I just got here, Shukaku said before his head turned blank. Gaara slowly opened his eyes and looked at Naruto. Damn you, Uzumaki. You will die. I don't think so. Naruto yelled back as chains erupted from his body and wrapped around Shukaku's body. Ugh! What are you doing? Gaara yelled at the blonde. He couldn't feel Shukaku's chakra and he was losing chakra. Stopping you, Naruto said as he punched Gaara again, causing Shukaku's body to crumble. Naruto grabbed Gaara and landed on the forest ground. No, please don't kill me. Gaara pleaded. I don't want to cease to exist. I won't. Naruto chuckled and laid Gaara on the ground, then he sat against a tree trunk. It's sad, isn't it? Being alone and people seeing us as monsters. Judging us for something we never asked for, hated and glared at. So you do understand, but how come you are not like me? Gaara asked. I'm not sure. Naruto said. Maybe because I found people who care about me, even though I'm a Jinchuriki. Naruto said, thinking of Kin, Mei and Karen. They accepted the real me and I'm willing to protect them at any cost, even if I have to kill you, but hopefully we can be friends instead. You're willing to be my friend? Gaara asked. Of course, I think you're the only person who can understand me the most and think of it as a new start. Naruto responded. Is that why you are so strong? Because you fight for those you love? Gaara asked. Naruto smiled and nodded. Friends, all like that. Gaara. Temari called as she and Kankuro landed near them, preparing for a fight. The two knew they couldn't defeat Naruto and Temari didn't want to fight the blonde if she could avoid it. Go ahead and take him. Naruto said, surprising the two. You were tricked by Orochimaru into doing this. Go and be safe. Do what he says, this fight is over. Gaara said. Kankuro and Temari looked at each before grabbing Gaara. Gaara turned to Naruto and gave him a small smile, shocking his siblings. Thank you, my friend. What? Temari said before looking at Naruto. Kankuro, take Gaara and go ahead. Kankuro was about to respond, but the glare from his sister told him to leave. Kankuro left the area and headed to Suna. Temari approached Naruto and hugged him. Thanks for not killing my little brother. Naruto blushed and returned the hug. No problem, Temari-chan. Temari pulled and it looked like she was contemplating something. Temari pecked him on the lips, making him blush. Temari backed away and winked at her fellow blonde. I'll see you later, Naruto-kun. Temari said before jumping away. Naruto touched his lips and smiled. Naruto. Naruto looked up and saw his teammates staring down at him. Why did she kiss you? Sakura asked. It's called being grateful, Naruto said and turned to walk away. How did you do all that? Sasuke asked. He never felt so inferior to the blonde before and he needed answers. Naruto stops and pops his neck and cracks his knuckles. None of your business, Uchiha-san. Now you and Sakura head back to the village. I got to save the old man. Naruto. Wait, Sakura didn't get to finish because Naruto disappeared in an orange flash. Sakura frowned in sadness. Naruto really doesn't care about us. No, he's just stressed by Hokage-sama. Water style. Water dragon jutsu. Mei and Tobirama released the same jutsu at each other, creating multiple droplets of water. Jiraiya, switch with me. Mei said as she saw Jiraiya in the forest that Hashirama created. Got it. Jiraiya jumped out of the trees as wood dragons chased after him. Mei put her hands together as her cheeks puffed. Lava style. Acidic mud. Mei shot gold lava at the dragons. Hashirama jumped out of the forest and charged the Mizukage. Mei ran forward and engaged Hashirama in a taijutsu battle. What's going on? The first and second Hokage should be much stronger than this. Orochimaru complained as he dodged Hiruzen's staff. You should learn more about a jutsu before being cast. The reanimation is only as strong as its caster. Hiruzen said as he tried to attack Orochimaru. Jiraiya is better at taijutsu than you. Mei has 2 bloodlines and I'm your sensei. You're not going to win. You and this worthless village will fall, old man. Orochimaru threatened. Outside the barrier, Tayuya was glaring at the Anbu that tried to get in. Stop trying, you pricks, you can't get in. Now die for killing my best friend alongside this village. Tayuya said. Kabuto informed her that Konoha captured Kin and ended up disposing of her. She wasn't sure she believed the liar, but she hadn't seen her friend since she arrived. Wow, Tayuya, I can't believe you would actually believe that scumbag. Kin said, jumping down and landing in front of the Anbu. Do I look dead to you? Kin, where the hell have you been? Tayuya asked her friend in anger. Well, here's the gist. Orochimaru sent his grunts to capture me to be sacrificed for a jutsu. I ran into another Uzumaki, yes there's two more here, and he saved me. He also convinced the Hokage to make me a Konoha nin and offered you sanctuary as well. Kin said. You can't be serious. Tayuya said. I am. Kin said, looking behind Tayuya. The redhead followed her eye and saw Hiruzen looking at them and nodding. Tayuya turned to Kin, who was giving her a warm smile. Hey Kin-chan, Naruto said, appearing next to her before turning to Tayuya. When he looked at her, his eyes widened. You're the other Uzumaki. What's it to ya? Tayuya asked. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze and Naruto started. He was the one that saved me. Kin said, cutting him off. You can join us, just drop the barrier and you'll be safe. I don't know, Orochimaru is right there. Tayuya said. I promise, I'll protect you. Tayuya turned to the blonde. I'll stake that on my life, you could be happy with Kin and I got the old man to give you sanctuary. All you have to do is drop the barrier. Naruto said, holding out his hand and Kin followed suit. Join us Tayuya and stop being a scaredy bitch. Kin said, knowing how Tayuya will act. Who are you calling a bitch? Do I look like a wimp? Fine. Tayuya released her hands and the barrier was starting to fade. This what those snake fuckers get for lying to me. Thanks Tayuya, but I need you to pass out. Kin said before sticking a senbon in her neck. Kin said, making Tayuya pass out. Naruto smiled and charged Orochimaru with his sword in his hand. Kuruma, can I pour some of your chakra in the sword? Kuruma poured his chakra through Naruto's sword like he requested. Hey Petamaru. Orochimaru turned to the source of the voice and saw Naruto charged him. He crossed his arms to block, was shocked and started to see Naruto with a sword. The sword pierced through both of his arms. You have to do better than Uck. Orochimaru said before feeling pain in his arms. His coil started to burn and looked to see his arms burning. What's going on? You can thank the Kyuubi's chakra for that, now you can't use your arms anymore. Naruto said. I'll make sure you'll pay for this. Orochimaru sneered. Sound 4, get me out of here. Orochimaru ordered and 3 of the 4 jumped near him. Tayuya, where are you? He turned his head and saw her, captured, by Anbu. Damn it, I'll destroy this village and you old man, he said as he retreated. Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to see Karen arriving on a salamander. The enemy is retreating, Karen said. That's a relief, Naruto said as he saw the Hokage approach him alongside the Mizukage and Jiraiya. Gigi, permission to take a nap, Naruto said as he passed out after the adrenaline left his body. Anko jumped forwards and caught the blonde on her back. He's special, isn't he? Anko turned to Mei, who started caressing the blonde's cheek. Anko looked at Naruto's peaceful face and gave a warm smile. He sure is. Flashback end. Start story part 2. Naruto groaned as he woke up and sat up in his bed. He looked around and noticed he was in a hospital room. He looked down to see Kin and Karen laying on their heads on the edge of his bed, with Anko and Mei laying side by side while sitting in chairs. What happened? It seems you have finally woken up, Kit. Kuruma said. How long have I been out? Naruto asked. Not sure. I can't really tell since I'm sealed in you, but I must say you completed an impressive feat. To fight a B-rank genin and then an A-rank who transformed into a Biju, with you attacking the snake shit all in one day will definitely earn you a promotion. Kuruma said, making the blonde blush. Thanks, but I can still approve. But it's because of you and the girls I made it this far. Naruto thought before turning to Anko. I know you are awake, hubby-chan. Anko opened one eye and smiled. I got caught. Anko chuckled as she gently leaned Mei's head against the wall and walked towards Naruto. How are you feeling, Foxy-kun? Better now that I got some sleep, and it was pretty satisfying to watch Orochi's arms burn. Naruto said, laughing a bit. Yeah, I think you deserve a reward for that. Anko said as she pecked Naruto on the cheek. Naruto's face turned red and he looked away a bit, making Anko giggle. Come on, you're engaged to Mei and you blush from a kiss. And, you're just as beautiful. Naruto blurted out before covering his mouth. Anko got quiet and she was blushing as well at the compliment. Wow, Naruto Koi, bringing another girl into the family. I have to say, she's a great choice. Naruto looks to see Mei's eyes open, leaning on her hand. Mayheim. Naruto mumbled with a soft tone. Mei walked to the two and gave the blonde a deep kiss. She pulled back and gave him a warm smile. Good job, you did fantastic. I was impressed with the results of your training. Mei said. It was thanks to you four I've become strong. Naruto said. And from what I've heard, I might be promoted to Special Jonin. Mei nodded. Yeah, I have to attend the meeting. It's not guaranteed, but you deserve it. Don't worry, I'll make sure you are not screwed over by the council, Koi. Mei said before walking out to the meeting. Mei walked in and sat next to the Konoha leader, who gave her a nod. Now that we all are here, we can begin the meeting. Now, is there anyone we should consider for promotion from the Chunin exam? We go down the list and vote. First candidate is Shino Aburame. While he didn't get to fight in the Chunin exam final round, he did help track down Gaara and defeated Kankuro. I saw the battle when I saved him. Shibi said. He's not as smart as Inara, but his strategic and stealth skills are amazing alongside his clan techniques. I say promote him, Shikaku said. I agree as well, the kid is strong enough and very calm. Mei said. The other clan heads nodded and decided to promote Shino to Chunin. What about Shikamaru Nara? Hiruzen asked. He had some great plans and strategic setup, and he knew when to withdraw from a fight. That kind of mindset will keep your team alive. Mei said. I'll say he's Chunin material. Inoichi said. Next is Neji Hyuga. Hiruzen said. While he is skilled, I'm not too sure about the Brat's emotional control. Sum said. I hate to say it, but he's right, if he ever encounters a Kumo Nin. We won't be sure how he'll act and can put his team in danger. Hiashi said. Then Neji Hyuga will not be promoted. Hiruzen said. And because of his tardiness, Sasuke will not be promoted. Let's be reasonable. Kaharu said. And I am, if the invasion started before he and Kakashi arrived. Who knows how many would have died? Hiruzen said. And our final candidate, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Hiruzen said. We shouldn't promote him. Danzo said. He's our Jinchuriki and giving him too much freedom could result in unwanted consequences. The elders nodded in agreement. Oh, I'm guessing Hiruzen Dono didn't tell you. Mei said, confusing everyone. I informed Lord Daimyo on how you treated Naruto and how biased you are towards Sasuke-kun. And since the elders supported them, the civilians are not allowed to participate in shinobi affairs. Hiruzen said, causing an uproar with the civilians and earning a smirk from the clan heads. Enough, if you cannot tell the difference between the Jinchuriki and a Biju, why should I trust you with anything else? Now, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Well, I'll say Special Jonin. Mei stated. Really? Isn't that too high? Mebuki said. Not like you get a say, but let me explain what he accomplished. His first match with Neji Hyuga, he beat him blindfolded while not receiving any damage at all. He strategized with his clones and played with his emotions and was able to use high wind attacks he created. Then there's Gaara. He showed he had an affinity to water alongside his wind and new Kenjutsu, Fuinjutsu, and let's not forget the A&S ranked jutsu he used. Mei said. Even some of my higher ranking Jonin and Chunin listened to him when he took control once the invasion started. Not only that, but he beat Gaara in his full Biju transformation and acquired a new contract alongside his fiancée that helped save the village, crippling Orochimaru in the process. Hiruzen added. I agree, hate to say, but the brat might give me a run for my money. Sum said. I vote as well. Hiashi said. Well, I think he should be a full Jonin. Shikaku said, surprising Hiruzen. He already showed he has leadership skill, and to learn AS rank jutsu that requires a lot of fuinjutsu knowledge told me he still might be hiding stuff from us. He's as strong as some of our Jonin and already earned the trust of many. Besides, there's not that much difference in the rank. Also, there's one more person I believe who deserves a promotion to Jonin. Naruto was standing in the Hokage office, next to Shikamaru, with Asuma standing behind him and Shino, with Kurenai behind him. Behind Naruto was Anko. Hiruzen smiled with pride as he stared at the three, with Mei beside him. Now I bet you three wonder why you are here. Happy to inform you that the three of you were nominated for promotion. Shino Aburame stepped forward. Shino stepped forward. While you didn't get to fight in the final round, you did help take out a high-level enemy. Not only that, you followed Naruto's order regardless of rank and trusted him. You remain calm and control of your emotions, as well as shown to be a quick thinker. For that, you're promoted to Chunin. Mei said, handing him the vest. Shino nodded and gave a small smile. Kurenai smiled in pride for her student. Shikamaru Nara, step forward. Hiruzen ordered. Troublesome, Shikamaru said as he stepped forward. Your match with Tamari was impressive, despite your laziness. Your intellect allowed you to control the pace of your match and led your opponent. You planned ahead and knew when to withdraw from a fight. Not only that, you were willing to sacrifice yourself when you were chasing after Gaara. For that, you were promoted to Chunin. Mei said. And now, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Step forward. Hiruzen said with pride. Naruto held back a smile as he stepped forward. Mei smiled warmly at the blonde as she stepped forward with a darker color vest. Your performance was more than outstanding. Your first match with Neji says how long you have come within the last few months. You fought a Hyuga and didn't take any damage, maneuvering around him with your clones, while playing with his emotions blindfolded. You fought Gaara to a standstill and proceeded to beat him while saving your comrades from his full Biju form and was able to perform a summon that most people can't accomplish. Let's talk about your skills. You used wind, water, fuinjutsu, element manipulation and kenjutsu. You were able to pinpoint where to send your comrades to make sure the village survived and injured Orochimaru in the process. For that, Naruto-kun, you are now promoted to Jonin. Mei said. Jonin. Not special Jonin. Naruto grabbed the vest slowly and smiled warmly. Congrats Foxy. Anko said, smiling warmly at Naruto. May I have the Jonin rank band? I kinda want to keep my jacket. Naruto asked. Hiruzen chuckled and gave him the band. It's not over, there's one more promotion. Hiruzen said, confusing everyone but Mei. Hiruzen walked around his desk and stood in front of Anko. Anko Mitarashi, you've been loyal for years towards the village, despite your reputation. You have completed multiple missions and long passed the requirement. Anko Mitarashi, you are now promoted to Jonin. Anko just stood there as tears poured down her face. All she did was bow and accept her new rank. Thank you, Hokage-sama. I hope you four continue to make the village proud. Hiruzen said. Congrats hubby-chan. Anko turned to her favorite blonde and grabbed the collar of his jacket and pulled him into a deep kiss. When she pulled back, Naruto was in a daze, while the two Sarutobis were imitating a fish. Now let's go out and celebrate. Anko said. May I join in as well? Mei asked. Sure. The more, the merrier. Naruto answered. Foxy-kun, how about we go out later tonight? Just the two of us for a little extra reward. Anko asked. Naruto was already informed by Kin that Anko wanted to go out with him. Sure hubby-chan. Anko beamed as the group left. Naruto and Anko approached his compound after leaving the tower and heard yelling coming from the outside of the building. He walked in the house and saw Kin and Karen trying to pull Tayuya's clothes off. Come on Tayuya, it's just a skirt. Kin said. I'm not going to wear that, why do I fucking care what Naruto thinks of me? Tayuya asked, trying to pull her pants up. Because you think he's hot. Karen answered. So, why would he like some bitch like me? Tayuya asked. I don't see why I wouldn't. Naruto said, walking in the room. Kin-chan said you're cool and you're nice on the eyes. Tayuya blushed and smirked. I know, right? I bet I'll have you fall for me by the end of the week. Naruto chuckled at this and just shook his head. Anyway, I'm here to invite you to a celebration. Naruto said. Foxy-kun and I made Jonin. Anko cheered. Kin and Karen tackled the blonde in a hug. I knew you could do it. Kin said. Yeah, and I know how we can celebrate. Karen said before she started to strip. You have 4 sexy kunoichi here who are into you and we've been stressed since the invasion. Everyone but Anko blushed. I like the way she thinks. Anko said before sneaking behind Naruto and raising her hand to her pants. Let's see what we're dealing with. Anko pulled down Naruto and the girls gape out the size. What Foxy-kun, you that big when you're hard. I'm not hard, Naruto said with a nervous face. The girls was quiet when he said that and just stared at him. I want you and me. Karen said, drooling. Too bad I'm going first. Anko said. The fuck you are, I'm first to ride that steed. Tayuya said. The kunoichi began to argue, making Naruto nervous. Can we just go? Naruto yelled, pulling up his pants and walking out the door. The girls ran after him still fighting over dibs. Hiruzen doing his stack of paper, happy that his surrogate grandson told him the secret to paperwork. Hokage-sama. Hiruzen turned to the door when he heard Kakashi. You may come in, Kakashi-san. Kakashi walked and bowed. Greetings, Hokage-sama. Kakashi said. I was just wondering if you knew the whereabouts of my student, Naruto. I have Sakura and Sasuke outside the tower and I thought we could get some training in since none of them made Chunin. He doesn't know, I'll have Naruto-kun tell him. This will be a valuable lesson. Well, everyone is at Akamaiki's barbecue celebrating our victory over the sound and other things. Hiruzen said. Hokage-sama, I also heard rumors of Naruto wanting to leave the team. Kakashi said. I left the decision up to him. If you want to learn more about the matter, speak to Naruto-kun. But I go to say I'm disappointed in you, Kakashi. You had the opportunity to turn your sensei's son into a legend and more, but you were being lazy and focused on Sasuke. I'm sure I don't have to tell you how Minato-kun would feel. Kakashi looked down. I know, I wanted Sasuke to be the strongest of the 3 so that way he won't feel any jealousy and leave the village. If Sasuke was stronger, it would have driven Naruto to get stronger. Kakashi said. But the Naruto you knew was an act, he never let his true emotions show. Now that has changed since he found friends he could be himself around and understand him. Hiruzen said. You're right, I'll go speak to him. Kakashi said as he left the office. Hiruzen chuckled as he pulled out an orange book and began to giggle like a schoolgirl. Kakashi made it outside and his 2 students were waiting for him. Well, apparently there's a gathering at Choji's barbecue place. We should head there and no you can't go train, Sasuke. Sasuke gritted his teeth as they headed to the barbecue place. As they walked through the village, they heard civilians talking about Naruto and couldn't believe he was the village hero's son. I still can't believe he's Minato Namikaze-sama's son. Sakura said. As she thought about it, it made her even more guilty when she thought about how she treated his son. Kakashi-sensei, do you think Naruto hates us? Kakashi sighed. I'm not sure, he didn't trust us and hid how he felt. But I can't blame him, we didn't try to get to know him on a deeper level. Plus when he always asked for something, we wrote him off. It felt weird when we talked, I didn't feel the warm sensation I usually do when we talk and for him to call me by my name without affection made me feel empty. Sakura said. You two are overthinking it. Sasuke said. The loser will never change and he'll be begging Sakura for dates again. Sasuke said. Hey Kakashi. Asuma greeted the team as they walked into the barbecue place. They sat at a round table with a grill in the middle next to Team 10. Hey Asuma, I heard we were celebrating. Kakashi said, looking around. He saw Team 8 with Kurenai, Team Guy with Guy and Kin, Karen, Mei and a redhead he had never seen before, with Yugao beside her. Mei stood up and clapped her hands. Great. Now that everyone is here, it's time to make my announcement. As you noticed, we have a few people missing and there's a reason for that. Well, I would like to say congratulations to Shino Aburame and Shikamaru Nara for making Chunin, and Anko Mitarashi and my fiancé Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze for making Jonin. Mei said as the four walked out from the kitchen sporting their new vest and band. Anko had her arm sling around Naruto's neck with a victory sign. What? The loser made Jonin. Kiba yelled and gulped when he felt killer intent from Mei, Yugao, Karen, Anko, Kin and Tayuya. Would you like to repeat that? Mei asked, narrowing her eyes on the young Inuzuka. No sorry. Kiba said. The group walked to the team except Naruto. He went to sit next to Mei and Anko sat on the other side. Naruto, why aren't you sitting with us? Sakura asked. Why would I? Naruto responded. You were the one complaining about us not hanging out together and now you're avoiding us. We're your teammates. Sakura said. Let me correct you on something, Sakura. I complained to you about hanging out without Sasuke as friends and when I offered you to come join me, what did you do? Naruto said. Sakura frowned. I didn't show but I told you I didn't feel like it. Sakura answered. Right, and what did I say would happen if you didn't show up? Naruto asked. Sakura looked sad as she remembered. But you don't mean that, right? Kin scoffed. I told you he did mean it. You can't just take him for granted and expect him to keep bouncing back. She's right. Naruto said. I told you, we're done. We're just comrades, not friends and anything else. Sakura felt like something was ripped out of her at those words and she didn't have anything to say. Well, you'll just have to get over it. Kakashi said. After all, we're on the same team. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Mei said standing up. Hiruzen told me one more thing to announce after the promotion. Since Anko and Naruto Koi are newly fresh Jonin, he decided to make a team with Anko as the main sensei and Naruto Koi as co-sensei. The students are going to be Kin Tsuchi, Karen Uzumaki and Tayuya Uzumaki. Wow, I can't believe we have our own students, Foxy-kun. Anko said. Naruto turns to the three girls. Are you three okay with this? Sure. I don't mind. Kin answered, folding her arms. You're better than that dildo Kabuto. Tayuya said, making the group laugh. I'll follow you all the way to the bedroom. Karen said, making everyone blush. Well then, I accept. Naruto said. Hold on Naruto, what about our team? Kakashi said, intervening. You mean the team that didn't give no fuck about me and praise King Emo and wherever ass touched? Sorry, but I refuse to be on a team that only cares about duck butt. Naruto said. Tayuya grinned. I'm influencing you, am I? A little. Naruto replied. But Naruto, we're sorry. If you want, I'll even go on a date with you. Sakura offered. Please, listen here you pink stick. It sounds like you are trying to manipulate Naruto-kun and frankly it's pissing me off. Plus why would he want to go out with you and have a hot piece of ass like me, cute as Kin-chan, beautiful as Karen, gorgeous as the Mizukage and let's not forget the super hot and sexy Anko-chan. Shit, Anko is someone even I would smash and I'm not gay. Tayuya said, making the girls smirk. We are a group of kunoichi that have bees D's. You might be my new favorite after Kin. Anko said with a flirty smile. And for the record, I'll smash as well. Naruto, listen, this team needs you. Kakashi said. You never showed it. For 6 months you had your chance, you could have used shadow clones to work with each of us but no, you could have helped find our affinity or at the very least help me and Sakura with our taijutsu. You don't need me or care about me. Remember Hataki-san, actions speak louder than words. Now I'm done talking, can we eat? Kakashi felt sad about this. He lost his student and now he doesn't want anything to do with him. Sakura felt like crying because she lost someone she considered a friend compared to the other two but to find out she herself wasn't a good friend. Sasuke didn't care because he was angry that his teammate made Jonin before he did. I don't feel like eating all this meat. Sakura said. I'm on a diet. And you wonder why you are so flat. Yuya commented. I'm only a teenager. Sakura said. And so are we. Tenten, Kin, Karen and Yuya said. I bet the princess over there has a bigger chest than you. Yuya said, pointing to Hinata. Hinata said. Unknowing to her, Anko snuck up behind her and opened her jacket. Naruto blushed and Yuya pouted. They're bigger than mine. The redhead complained. Hey Naru-kun. Tenten called. Huh? What is it, Ten-chan? Tenten smirked at the nickname and for some strange reason, it made her happy. Would you mind sparring with me from time to time in Kenjutsu? Tenten asked. Naruto smirked and thought about some. Ten-chan, you said you want to be a weapon master, correct? Ten-ten nodded, making Naruto smirked. Well, I know I'm a new jonin and all, but if you trust me, I'll take you on as an apprentice and teach you element manipulation and fuinjutsu alongside different kenjutsu styles, what do you say? Tenten's eyes widened. She would normally answer no since they're the same age, but after seeing Naruto perform, there was only one answer. I accept. Naruto-sensei. Naruto blushed and smiled. No problem, I'm happy to help. Did you see that guy sensei? Naruto-kun's passion shine even brighter. Lee said. You right, and now our Tenten youthfulness grows and spreads through the village. Everyone else was sweating a bit. There you are, Gaki. Come with me Naruto, Jiraiya said, appearing. Naruto got up and followed Jiraiya outside. We have a mission from the council to find my old teammate. You're coming along. Tsunade Haim. Fine, but why me? Naruto asked. Because sensei told me to bring you and he said you could bring up to 2 people. Jiraiya said. I was hoping to teach you some things, so this will be a good opportunity. Fine. When do we leave? Naruto asked. In 3 hours. Jiraiya answered. So get ready. Jiraiya said before disappearing. Naruto walked back in and looked at the group. Sorry guys, but I have to go on a mission to bring someone back. I'm allowed to take 2 people and I was hoping to take Karen-chan and Ten-chan. Naruto said, making Karen nod and Tenten confused. They followed him outside the restaurant. What's this about, Naruto-sensei? Karen asked, making Naruto blush. Really? You too? Karen just giggled. We're going on a mission to retrieve a person you two are fans of. Tsunade-sen. Naruto didn't get to finish as the girls glomped on him. We get to meet Tsunade-sama. The girls cheered. Naruto just rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, we have 3 hours to get ready. Let's get some barbecue and head out. The girls nodded and went back inside. Dobi, fight me, Sasuke said. No, I just went through an invasion. Don't really feel like fighting. Naruto said. Why, are you afraid? Sasuke said, trying to rile the blonde up. I just said I'm tired from fighting, now I got to get ready for the mission. Naruto said, leaving for his apartment. Sasuke just clicked his teeth and left. Tenten and Karen went home to get their things, in Karen's case followed Naruto with Mei following her. Well, I guess I'll tag along since I have to head back to Kiri. Mei said, and the two followed their favorite blonde. Sakura just stared at the blonde's back with a frown. I can't give up. He doesn't hate us, but how can I make it up to him? Naruto arrived at the front of the gate and saw Tenten and Karen standing far away from Jiraiya, while he was writing down some notes. What's going on? He's taking some notes for his book. Tenten said. You mean the garbage porn? Naruto asked. Jiraiya glared at the blonde. You don't know true art. Have you even read my books? Naruto returned the glare. No, I haven't. What's your point? It's called Ika Ika. Naruto said before catching an orange book. Read it before judging it. Jiraiya said. Or are you afraid of what the girls might think of you? I won't be mad if you read it. Karen said. Naruto gave her a look of disbelief, which she caught. What? I want your opinion on the book and I know you won't like it. Naruto stared at the book and sighed. Fine, I'll read it. Tenten walked next to Karen. Are you sure it was a good idea to let sensei read that? I'm sure. Naruto sensei is not a pervert. Karen replied. You two don't have to call me sensei, you know. Naruto replied, reading the book. The girls giggled and ran up to stand next to Naruto. 2 days later, Naruto was in the hotel with Tenten and Karen, while Jiraiya went to talk to some informants. I'm done, Naruto said, putting down the book. And? Both Tenten and Karen asked. Tenten was hoping Naruto wouldn't become a pervert and Karen was just interested in his opinion. Well, it's just smut. It seems like he rushed scenes too quickly and tried to describe sex as some form of art. Of course, there's some steamy scenes, but it's just like a porny sex movie. I bet I could write a better book. I think that's a good idea. Karen said. Write a book and show the pervert how it's done. Karen cheered. Naruto was quiet and smiled. You know what? You're right, I'll get started right now. Naruto said until he heard a knock on the door. Karen narrowed her eyes and Naruto looked at her. You sense it too. We have trouble. Now I'll ask this again and want to clarify something. I know Tsunade is 48 in Naruto, but if any of you said no because of her age, I'll feel insulted because I do have a way around it. So if it's because of her age, give me a better reason. Seriously, I'm not asking because she's a hot waifu, it's because to restore it. So ignoring her age, do you want Tsunade in the harem? And for those who does know me, smart ass is lol.